Today, guys, I'm going to be doing something I've never done before. I'm going to be rating people's decks on Reddit from 1 to 10. I think people have asked me before to rate viewer decks, so this would probably be very similar to that. Let me know if you guys want me to do this again. If this video is interesting to a lot of people, I probably will. So starting off here, this guy says best deck in the game. He got to 15,000 trophies with this somehow, and he's trying to reach Ultimate Champion. I'm actually surprised he hit 15,000 trophies with this deck, but since his card levels are all pretty high, maybe it's not that surprising. So, of course, it's got to have the Mega Knight in it. Of course, mid-ladder Menace card. The one good thing about the deck is you got the Evo Furnace in it, which is really strong. But why is an Expo? What is an Expo doing in a Mega Knight deck? Like, what is this synergy? That is something you should never see. Mega Knight and Expo together. That just doesn't make any sense. Another nice thing that he has in the deck is he does have a log. Really good to have inside of an Expo deck. A nice small spell to pair with it. Zap, I don't know. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then a Boss Bandit? Why the Mega Knight and the Boss Bandit? He'd be much better off having another building. Even if it was something like a cannon. I'm not even saying a Tesla. But a cannon or an Inferno would make way more sense than a Mega Knight or a Boss Bandit. But Expo, Mega Knight, Boss Bandit, synergy doesn't make any sense. Deck is overly expensive at 4.4 average elixir. I'm going to have to give this a 3 out of 10. It could be worse. At least he's got a win condition in the deck, and there's a tiny bit of good in it. But it's not great. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. So in our next one here, we got this guy who says, what do y'all think about my homemade deck? Another person that got to 15,000 trophies. Now, this deck already, we're looking way better over here. Of course, this isn't a meta deck. It's got a wizard in it, which you're typically not going to see inside of a meta logbait deck. Same with the skeleton army. But you got a lot of good. You got a lot of synergy. You got the Evo Valk, which is going to pair very well with the Goblin Barrel, of course. The Dark Goblin and the Firecracker are going to be very good inside of bait decks as well. Firecracker, though, is a little bit risky compared to the Princess Tower because it's going to be an easy way for the opponent to get the King Tower activated. But overall, this deck has a good amount of synergy. I like the fact that there's an Inferno Tower in it. If you were to change anything, maybe it would be something instead of the Skarmy. I would like to see maybe Guards or a Goblin Gang instead, or Princess instead of the Firecracker. But in all honesty, I would have to give this deck a 6.5 out of 10, maybe even a 7 out of 10. I think for what it is, it's actually really solid, but I think we'll get some better decks later on. So this guy over here asked thoughts about my deck. Got me from 5k trophies to 7,700 in 2 days. So this one, definitely you can already tell right away it's going to be a lot worse. So one of the biggest problems about this deck is it doesn't even really have a win condition. I know a lot of mid-ladder players consider Mega Knight a win condition, but the Mega Knight is really not a win condition, to be honest. I wouldn't consider it one. You do got the Inferno Drag in the deck, which is going to be really good for dealing with tanks, of course. You got a couple nice spells like Log and Zap, which are going to pair pretty well with the Mega Knight, especially the Zap. But what is the Knight doing in here? It doesn't make sense having the Knight in the deck when you already have the Mega Knight. Now, this does look better than the Expo deck, even without a win condition. As surprisingly as that is, I do think this has a better cycle at 3.6 average elixir. You got the Evo Witch, Evo Skeletons, the Archer Queen, which all go very well with the Mega Knight. If I were this guy, I would just put in a win condition for the Knight. Any sort of win condition would suffice. Even if we're talking about the Skeleton Barrel, for example, the Miner, the Wall Breakers, the Ramrider, literally any win condition would make this deck better. Without the win condition at the moment, though, I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 10. It's definitely a below average deck, but it could be a lot worse. Next up, guys, we got another person here who has a logbait type of deck. He asked, what do you think of my deck? He used to play Golem Night Witch with some changes and a twist. Mega Knight, he got to 7k, but then he quit it for some years. And during that time, he met a girl at a party. I don't know what that has to do with the deck. Maybe she influenced it. I don't know what. Okay, anyway, I'm not reading all that yapping. But apparently he met some girl at a party, and that's why he changed the deck. So he's running a bait deck. It's got Inferno, it's got Wall Breakers, so it's actually a bit similar to that bait deck I showed before with the Inferno and the Goblin Barrel and the Dark Goblin. Main difference, though, is it's going to have the Evo Wall Breakers in the deck. You got the Ice Spirit as well, Skeletons, so instead of having something like Skarmy Gob Gang, you got Skeletons. That would maybe be worth considering swapping out for maybe Guards, something like that, because the deck is relatively cheap at 2.5 average elixir. I think that is a little low for a logbait deck, and I do think having something like a Rocket in it would be solid, but all things considered, I would give this deck I think I would have to say this is a 7 out of 10. I don't think I could give it an 8 or a 9. I think we'll get better decks than this, but this is without a doubt an above average deck. It has good synergy. I like the win conditions. It's pretty cheap, which a log bait deck should be, but I think a couple adjustments would make it better, like either a Rocket or Goblin Gang and Guards instead of Skeletons. But all things considered, not bad whatsoever. So this guy wants a deck check. I figured I'd throw in a couple from a while ago. So this is from 6 months ago. But you know, the Evos in the deck are still solid, especially the Evo Valk. Again, this is another one, and I feel like a lot of mid-ladder players have this problem where they're running decks that don't have a win condition. People think that the Mega Knight is a valid win condition, but it's really not. You really do need to have something with the Mega Knight, like a Miner or Wall Breakers. And this is the mistake I see mid-ladder players make the most. Almost every time I see this, I have to give the score below average. I do like some of the things in it. I mean, I think you have some nice ranged attackers like the Dark Gob, you got the E-Wiz, and you got some good defense. I mean, you got the Scrummy and the E-Barbs. But again, you're kind of relying on your opponent making mistakes. You can never have a consistent way of getting in the tower. I got to give this deck a 4 out of 10. It's below average. It's just you're not going to be able to consistently get damage. The defense is good, but the offense is lacking so much, especially if you're against a good player. I'd like to see win condition in the deck. Now we're talking, guys. Now we're talking. What do you think of this deck? This is without a doubt, maybe a little bit of a spoiler, this is for sure the best deck that I have seen so far out of all the decks. So what's really good about this deck here is, as you guys can see, you got two good evolutions in the deck. You got the Evo Archers and you got the Evo Tesla, which are going to get a lot of value. Now, the Evo Archers aren't as good after the nerf, but what this is really going to show is you can really use just about any evolution you have, and as long as you pair it in the right deck, that's what matters. The Evo Archers pair very well with the Evo Tesla, and they would fit very well in a Miner control deck just like they would in Expo, because that combination, the Tesla and the Evo Archers, or the Evo Tesla with the Evo Archers, very solid. I really like the Miner in the deck as a solid win condition. You have the Poison, which is going to get some chip damage as well, so you don't have to solely rely on the Miner. The minions are really good at the moment. They're one of the strongest cards. And then to add some uniqueness to the deck, you have the Bowler. So this is kind of what makes it a homemade deck, right? Because this type of deck normally wouldn't have the Bowler, and you're not always going to have high level cards. So you are going to have to use some things that typically, you know, maybe people high up on ladder have access to that you don't, because, you know, you got to factor in card levels. But the Bowler makes a lot of sense in the deck. It's going to provide you some more defense, and you can use it for counter pushes as well. And then rounding the deck off with the Log and the Ice Spirit, which you commonly see in Miner, I'd have to give this deck a solid 8.5. This is really good. I might even have to give it a 9. This is a great deck. I think I'm going to lock in 8.5. This is an amazing deck. And the Bowler makes it unique, but even with the Bowler, it's not a bad deck whatsoever. Solid stuff. Genuinely the best deck ever. At least he admits he knows he's the scum of the earth for this deck. Okay, this is a pretty horrendous deck. I mean, you got the P.E.K.K.A, alright, I'm just going to straight up say it. This is like a 2 out of 10. It could be worse. Don't get me wrong, it could be worse. But this is even worse than that Mega Knight Expo deck, because you don't even got a win condition. So expensive at 4.3. I mean, Evo, it's just too expensive. Too expensive, no win condition. One of these three cards has to go. Either the E-Barbs, the Evo P.E.K.K.A, or the Evo Mega Knight. I mean, the Evo Witch, he's got that evolution. I don't understand. I guess this was from 3 months ago, so hopefully he swapped some things out, moved it around. But I would say as of now, definitely not great. But we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he changed it a bit because it was 3 months ago, but 2 out of 10, as this was at least 3 months ago. This is a more recent one, 6 days ago. Would my deck be considered a homemade deck? So this is an interesting one. As you can see, he's got the Evo Battle Ram. He's got the Evo Musketeer. So this is the problem with this deck. I like the fact that it has a win condition. You got the Evo Battle Ram, right? And you have some things that go well with Bridge Ram. I feel like the Evo Musk could fit, the E-Wiz, the Bandit, the Ghost, right? Some weird cards like the Princess. I don't really know if that would fit well in the Bridge Spam deck. But either way, not even just the Princess. The biggest thing lacking, guys, is you don't have a spell. Guys, if you're running a Bridge Spam deck, you need to have a spell. I'm sorry. Even if it's just one. You need to have arrows, you need to have a snowball, or a fireball, or a poison, or a barb barrel even. Even just a barb barrel, you need to have something. With no spell, it's just not going to work. You're not really going to be able to get through buildings or certain troops very easily, and your defense is going to be lackluster sometimes. So with no spell, kind of like no win condition, I gotta deduct a ton of points. I gotta give this a 5 out of 10. It's just an average deck. It's a cool bridge spam deck, but without a spell, it's gonna be a 5 out of 10. If you just put in a spell instead of maybe even the Ice Wizard or the Princess, whatever, it would probably go all the way up to a 7, maybe even an 8. But the lack of spell, a lot of points have to be deducted. So 5 out of 10 is my rating. Thoughts on this deck? Ooh, this was actually from a few months ago, but even though this was from a few months ago, it's actually really solid. Probably the only thing would be the Duchess. Maybe after the Duchess nerf, though, he already put in the Princess Tower, which he should do, I would say, or the Cannoneer. I like this, though. The Evo Firecracker, Evo Recruits, Dark Gob, Skelly Barrel, Boss Bandit, Wall Breakers, Arrows, and Gang. I mean, this is pretty much, in all honesty, almost a meta deck. It's not too far off from the Recruit decks you see. So I think it goes without saying I'd probably have to rate this really high, like a 9 out of 10 probably. That might be pretty obvious, but again, not everyone's going to have access to these types of decks and the levels, but this is a solid deck, and if you play it properly, you should have a lot of success with it. Maybe now you should use the Mighty Miner instead of the Boss Bandit. That would maybe be the one thing keeping it from being a 10. I'd give it a 9 out of 10, though. 9 out of 10, for sure. Probably the best deck we've seen so far. Not a lot of critiquing needed there. Wow. This caught me off guard. It was like, okay, wow, does this guy actually run this? I don't know if this is a troll, but Void, Barput, yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that you got the Wall Breakers and the Miner in it, but it's like, what is this synergy? The Barput, Void, it's like the fact you just can't, there's certain cards, guys, in this game that you just never want to use. And, you know, I've made videos talking about the worst cards in the game, like things like Void, Barput, you just never want to play. This is just, I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because at least it's got a win condition. It's got a reliable way of getting damage. It's unique, I'll give the guy that, but you got to take out some of these crappy cards. Like, even if you put in a Tesla or Cannons to the Barput, and then literally any spell besides the Void, except Mirror, but you get the point. You gotta put maybe like a Fireball or Poison in a different building, and the deck would be way better. I'm not saying you gotta change every unique part of it. Like, you could keep either the Pump, the Barput, or the Void, but you can't have 3 cards in the deck that are just well below average. It's just not gonna work, unfortunately. It is just not gonna work. And lastly, guys, what do you think about my homemade deck? Is it good? Are there any improvements? I don't know if this is a homemade deck. It looks like a meta deck with 1 card change because I think before it was the Spear Goblins in it. So this would be like, I would say this is the best deck out of all of them, a 10 out of 10, but it's almost a meta deck. The reason why this deck is so good is you got the Evo Valk, right, the Evo Wall Breakers. So you got 2 good evolutions. You got a reliable way of getting damage. The Evo Wall Breakers are a really good way of getting damage for like 2 Elixir. But you also got the Miner for chip damage as well, which is going to be a secondary win condition, and the Magic Archer, of course, guys, is a nice win condition as well. So you actually have 3 ways of getting damage reliably, and then your defense is on point as well, because you have the Evo Valkyrie, which, as you know, can defend pretty much everything in the game, and you got the Tornado to assist her, so even when you just got the regular Valk in hand, you still have the Tornado, and then you got the Bomb Tower as well, which is going to help you defend a lot of different win conditions, along with the Ice Spirit, which will help you freeze things, and the Log. So it's a really well-rounded deck. Is it the most broken deck in the meta? No, but this is the exact type of deck that's just going to be very well-rounded, and it's going to get a 10 out of 10 ranking from me. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. You can use critter code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game, and let me know in the comments below if you guys want me to do this type of video again.